shows and on a big show on ABC for like the past 4 or 5 years with a bunch of wonderful people, a wonderful show, but I would be a total hypocrite to not say I am in agreement. You should cancel your subscriptions to all three of those networks because they are doing whatever Trump tells them. Trump now runs their networks. If Trump doesn't like someone or someone says something that maybe gets him mad, he calls them up and says, fire that guy. And they do. And this is right after a couple days ago where a Fox News piece of shit said we should start killing homeless people. That guy still has a job. The FCC didn't say a word, and neither
Okay. Hello, Carlos. Hello, Zach. Thank you, Chris. Okay, so we got Bigo, we got the Tiki Talk, and we got YouTube. Even though I don't have any views right now on YouTube, it's okay. They'll come eventually. Okay, that's my link tree. Has my YouTube and all the other channels, and you can support me through various ways. Um, so, hello, Brian. Hey, Mimi. Well, I gotta turn this other light on. There we go. There we go. A bit more light. So we still have people that want to blame the transgender community for everything. Anything that goes wrong, transgenders. Really? You got a flat tire. Oh, it's transgenders. Get stuck in traffic. Oh, it's the transgenders. I hate to tell you, we're not the problem. When you're blaming others for life being bad, you need to find out why. You got to figure it out. If there's an unaliving somewhere, it's transgenders. If there's it's it's getting pretty ridiculous, to be for real. You know. And the ones that have the most the ones that are pointing the finger the most probably had the most skeletons in their closet. I hate to say it, but it's true. And Nancy Mace, oh my God. I mean, she spouts more bigotry out of her mouth in 30 seconds than most people do in their whole entire life. We got Trump and his rhetoric, J.D. Vance and his rhetoric. I hate to say it, we got one less because of Charlie Kirk, you know, his passing. So we got one less person spouting rhetoric. So please like, share, follow, send gifts. Um, especially share, you know, um, because I might get into a whole bunch of stuff tonight. And yeah, let me see if I can't find this one that I was looking for earlier. Let me share this. This was from an ally.
I am so sick of trans people being the scapegoats for problems in our country right now. The trans community is not your enemy or mine. So please just hear me out for a minute. It's safe to say that I'm around transgender people a lot more than your average person is. I'm around trans people probably 3 hours a day. Clients, friends, and they really are some of the most kind, intelligent, creative people I've ever known in my life. So when I see certain politicians or pastors like demonizing the trans community, saying how violent they are, I'm just like, do they even know any trans people? Are we even talking about the same people? I mean, I ran a support group about 10 years ago for trans women, and it was wonderful. It was amazing. Please put me in a room with 12 trans women. I never felt uncomfortable or unsafe. And I recently had a trans client tell me that he had a customer, he works in a coffee shop, he had a customer talking crap about him, about trans people, not knowing that he was actually talking to a trans person. So trans people are all around us all the time. They are making your lattes. They are doing your deposits at the bank. They are personal trainers in gyms. They are teachers, and a lot of them pass, so you don't even know they're trans. And research always shows that trans people are four times more likely to be victims of crimes than to be committing crimes. There were at least 36 trans people killed last year, and over half of those were black trans women. So there is absolutely no evidence to suggest that trans women hurt people in restrooms. None. No evidence shows that. So the hate against trans women in our country is just fueled by disinformation and plain out lies. So trans people, friends, family, keep your head held high. I love you. Find queer community. Please be safe out there, and I'll see you soon.
Here's another one. I love this one.
I feel like one of the reason MAGA women hate trans women is because we get the same types of plastic surgeries and cosmetic surgeries, and we end up looking better than them. Okay? Sometimes we don't even need the surgeries. Okay? And we still look better than them.
remember I was talking about Nancy Mace earlier.
So Nancy Mace, one of the world's biggest haters, is now calling for all trans people to be institutionalized. And as a trans person, I have a lot to say about that, but I'm going to start with this. The way that Nancy Mace talks about trans people and the frequency with which she does so is not normal. Like, I really need y'all to think about the fact that Nancy Mace talks about trans people more than I do, and I am trans people, okay? Like, not only am I a trans person, I specifically post on here and have been for years about being trans. I have playlists on my account, not just of my transition, but also of me, like, answering questions from other people, and I am still not the one between the two of us that tweeted about trans people hundreds of times in the span of just a couple of days. And y'all, her use of slurs, I have never seen someone ever, I don't think, like, take any and all opportunity, especially if she's on camera, to just throw out the word tranny just over and over and over, and she's smiling when she does it. That is disturbing. That is extremely disturbing. And it's to the point, right, that she does it at work. She's done it at meetings and hearings where her colleagues have had to tell her, like, hey, at least be respectful. And she's responded by saying no, and then just going tranny, tranny, tranny into the mic. That is not normal. She's 47. I looked it up. She's 47 years old. That's the kind of shit that you do when you're in middle school. Now, Dawn Lemon, because that's where we are now, recently called her out on this and said, you know, that is a derogatory term that you're using. And she said, I don't care. Come on, right? And her excuse was literally, these people want me unalive. Let's apply some not so common sense here, right? Do you think that that would be happening if Nancy Mace wasn't the kind of person who was dropping slurs every opportunity she gets, despite having been told numerous times by numerous people that that is an inappropriate thing to do, especially at work, right? Would that be happening if she wasn't the kind of person who was obsessed with us, but somehow calling for us to be institutionalized because we are unwell and dangerous? And I know that no one ever wants to acknowledge this because it makes it very clear how completely illogical most of this is, right? But America's actually not the only country in the world. America's not the only country in the world. Trans people exist everywhere, right? I myself am talking to you from Canada. So if there was some kind of inherent link between trans people like me and violent criminal behavior or whatever it is that she's saying, right? We would be seeing that everywhere. We would be seeing that all over the world, everywhere that trans people are. That is common fucking sense. Like, I picked up my prescription for testosterone a few weeks ago, and kids still aren't being shot in school here, right? They're not being shot in school here, which is why I constantly tell people that bigotry and hatred makes people unable to prioritize. Because why is this the thing that she's focusing on, right? And for someone who does so much of this, but only when it's about trans people, right? I haven't heard her saying anything about the fact that there are people on this app talking about how their utility bills are skyrocketing right now, how the price of groceries is skyrocketing right now, right? And Nancy Mace, mind you, somebody whose healthcare is paid for by taxpayers, including trans people, somebody who has trans constituents, right? There are people in that state, hundreds of thousands of people in South Carolina who are losing their healthcare, and she hasn't said shit about that because trans people. We are literally talking about a country where the likelihood of you waking up one day and helping your child choose an outfit for school, and the next day be choosing an outfit that they are going to wear in their casket because you sent them to school, is a lot more than zero. The likelihood of that is not ever zero. We are talking about a country where people die because they can't afford their insulin, where people die because they age out of their parents' insurance and cannot afford the steroid inhaler that they need every day, have one really terrible asthma attack, and fucking die. The average cost of an EpiPen is more than I paid in rent in my first apartment back in 2012. More expensive than my rent. Like, even if you absolutely fucking hate trans people, you cannot tell me that with all of the other things that are going on in the United States, that this is what your elected officials should be worrying about more than anything else, if not only this. And as a survivor myself, I have to say, it disgusts me to no end to see her weaponizing her status as a survivor and targeting my community because of it. Because we were not the ones. At the end of the day, Nancy Mace was not attacked by trans people. And quite frankly, if you don't want people talking shit about you online, despite the fact that you're doing nefarious, like, literally, like, supervillain level evil shit in your your day to day, right, then pick any other profession apart from elected official, because this cannot be surprising in the country where people literally were hanging effigies of the Obamas, plural, the entire family, including, at the time, their two young daughters, from nooses in their front yards. Are you, like, hello? But people talking shit about you because you can't keep our name out your fucking mouth is the worst thing that's ever happened to you? Okay. At the end of the day, the person who is actually clearly unwell is Nancy Mace, and I think that she should take some of the resources that she has available to her because of the taxpayers, right? And literally go to fucking therapy, seek help. Because the fact that she's literally, you can see it in videos where she's smiling as she's calling people slurs, okay? That is not fucking normal, right? I had to think about that for a while, because when I see behavior that just doesn't make sense to me, I'm like, what kind of life would I need to be living for this to be something that I did? But also, what would I be getting from that? What does Nancy Mace get from this? Because clearly there is something she's getting from it. And the answer is power. In her mind. In her mind, right? She may not realize this, but whenever she gets to, as an elected official, right, get on camera and say slurs into the camera over and over and over and over, knowing that she's going to get away with it, that's why she's smiling. It makes her feel good. It makes her feel that she is better than, and she knows this. She herself has said that dehumanizing language teaches people to see someone as less than human. So Nancy, what the fuck are you doing? Especially because in the wake of everything that happened with Charlie Kirk, literally all of the right, for the most part, has finally acknowledged that rhetoric does have an impact and can incite violence, right? So what the fuck are you doing? Because for all of her talk about protecting women, right, and all of the tears that she shed where she was so upset, she was shaking her head, didn't want to take questions, right, after hearing testimony from some of the Epstein survivors, she turned right the fuck around the next day and said that Trump is committed, in all caps, to protecting women and children. So I think that I speak for all fucking trans people, and I normally don't say shit like that, but I really honestly believe that in this case I am speaking for all trans people when I say, Nancy, we don't want you to be, we want you to shut the fuck up and actually.
Hello, Brooke.
LGBTQ plus souls are the spiritual warriors of this planet. I have a lesbian 16-year-old daughter and an 18-year-old trans bonus son. And when I say these souls came here on assignment to stand on business, I mean it. Like, these souls chose the path where the very act of existing authentically would expose the shadows of humanity. Like, think about that. To be born into a system that tells you from the very start that you're wrong, that you're broken, that you don't belong, and instead of collapsing, instead of dimming yourself, they chose to rise and say, this is who I am. That is serious mastery. That is spiritual courage at the highest level. Because every time an LGBTQ plus soul refuses to hide, they hold up a mirror. They force society to look at its prejudices. They reveal the conditioning. They unravel the lies. They're basically the forerunners, the pioneers, the ones dismantling illusion in real time. Because authenticity is the highest vibration. Authenticity is the highest calling. And these souls are living proof. They are teaching us that love is love, that freedom is God, that you cannot control truth because truth will always rise. So honor them, protect them, because whether you realize it or not, they are fighting a battle that liberates all of us. They are carrying humanity into the earth, where authenticity is the law and love is the only vibration that lasts. Join us at Awakening Inner Circle for teachings, healing, guidance, and community. LGBTQ.
Thank you, Jace. A little bit of an interview with John Lennon.
I want peace now. We can get peace now if we want it now. And the left wing talk about giving the power to the people. You know, anybody knows that the people have the power. All we have to do is awaken the power in the people. The people are unaware. It's like they're not educated to realize that they have power. They put the politicians in power. They vote for the local mayor. The people do it. But the system is so geared that everybody believes that just the father will fix everything. The father being the government. Government will fix everything. It is all government's fault. You know, shake a fist at the government. Well, we are the government. The people are the government and the people have the power, but we must try and make them aware of this. I want peace.
Anybody know who Kalani is? Alright, this is what she said at the San Diego Pride.
You guys should feel safe when we are in spaces like this with each other. I want to shout out the trans community right now, majorly, because you guys put all of us on your backs, okay, on your backs. And we owe it to keep you guys safe and to keep you at the forefront. And I'm going to just take a second, I'm not supposed to say nothing political, but the president.
Here's another video that I really liked.
I'm probably going to lose followers for this, but I really don't care. I am so tired of watching trans people get mistreated over and over and over again. First of all, I have no idea where this disdain for trans people came from. Those of you who don't like trans people, you were probably taught to feel that way by somebody. The fact of the matter is that genderqueer, gender fluid, transgender people have been around for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. The best example I can give is the Native American Two-Spirit. That was an individual who embodied both genders, and they were accepted by their tribes. It was normal in their culture for some people to be gender fluid. And also, somebody else's pronouns and gender expression does not affect you personally at all. Like, whether or not someone is born biologically male or female and wants to present as a different gender is none of your business. And it's really not that hard to just respect someone's preferences and refer to them in the way that they want to be referred to. It's really not that difficult. And you have no right to dictate how other people present themselves and how they dress and what pronouns they want to use. And some of you also make the argument that it's harmful to children to see transgender people simply existing, and yet you will go home and physically attack your children. You will neglect them emotionally. You will bully them, and then turn around and say, well, I don't want trans people around my children. If you guys are really so concerned about the safety and well-being of children, why don't you speak up against, say, the beauty industry, the fashion industry that thrives on body shaming and making people feel insecure about normal human features. And this idea that all trans people are predators is completely false. That could not be further from the truth. Statistics show that most predators are heterosexual, cisgendered, male. You guys should not be looking at trans people as the villains. You should be looking at the people who have the highest status and the most privilege in society, because those are the people who are going to be committing the most crimes. Why? Because they know they can get away with it. If you can't respect trans people, then don't expect anybody to respect you. They are not harming anybody by being who they are. They simply want to exist and be comfortable in their own bodies. If we don't like that or we don't understand that, it really doesn't matter. What matters is respecting their dignity and their rights as your fellow human beings. It's really, really not that hard.
Yeah, this was from GLAAD. GLAAD.
Let me just say that no one of any race, gender identity, sexual orientation, or ability should have to face discrimination from their own government. You have borne the brunt of a divisive culture, suffered under the wrath and prejudice of people who chose not to see the magnificence of who you are, and through it all, you have remained powerful and defiant, elevating and offering comfort to the community, and being a demonstration to all of humanity. So I am uplifted by being here with you tonight, knowing from experience what we can accomplish together when we stand with each other in support of GLAAD and this dynamic community. Yours is a history of action that takes a stand for what is right and just in education, law, politics, arts, culture, and religion across this country and around this world. And as we have said tonight, we must remain vigilant. Yours is a history of righteous protest that gave birth to the Mattachine Society, the Daughters of Bilitis, the Stonewall Rebellion, ACT UP, and many, many more groups. Leading to the legal rights, the health protections, and the marriage equality we have today. And again, I repeat, we must stay vigilant.
And I totally agree. We must stay vigilant. We need to not fight with sticks and stones, so to speak, but fight with our words. You know, this was a good one here too.
might see this. My name's Kane, and I support you 100%. In fact, I really, really love you. I love you a whole lot. I love trans people because you're so kind, you're so nice, and you're so understanding. And I think that comes from wanting that love and understanding yourself. I think it comes from realizing what it means to not feel comfortable in this world, to not feel safe in this world. So you're very accommodating for others. And I want to be accommodating for you. I think trans people are inspirational because I think this life is all about discovery. I think this life is all about discovering what it means to be human. I think it's all about discovering what it means to feel comfortable in our own bodies and what it takes. And I think trans people are flag bearers for that. I think trans people are a wonderful metric of that. You know, learning about the human experience, learning about, you know, what it means to be happy. And I think that's amazing. And I just don't understand all these people that want to bring trans people down and say, well, you know, I don't support it. What are they doing that's hurting you? They're just trying to live their lives happily. They're not indoctrinating you. They're not changing your life. They're changing their own lives. You just want to control somebody because it makes you uncomfortable. Well, I'm sorry. Your uncomfortability does not decide the role I play in my own life. The role everybody plays in their lives. You know what? Sometimes things are going to make you uncomfortable, and you can either learn how to accept it, or you can, I guess, not, and just become a thorn in that person's side. Unfortunate. But to the trans person who sees this, I want you to know, even though there is plenty of hate out there, there is plenty of love too. There is a whole lot of love out here for you, and I love and support you so much, because personally I know what it feels like to not be comfortable in my own body with my weight. I know how it feels like everything I did felt fake. It felt like it wasn't me, and you know, because I hated my body. I know what that feels like, and I want to say I would never wish that on anybody. So if you got to take some means to change yourself to the person you want to be, do it. Do it. Take the leap. Take the jump. If it's going to make you happier, do it. Don't listen to what anybody says. Don't listen to that little voice in the back of your head. Do what you need to do to be happy, because you are of sound mind. You are a human being. Your opinion matters just as much as anybody else. Your life matters just as much as anybody else's. And you are responsible enough to make decisions about your own life. Oh, well, I don't support that. Fuck you. Trans people are just trying to live their lives happily. It's become some politicized thing because, you know what, there's a lot of hate out there, but trans people are not political tools. They are human beings. And if you don't support trans people and you see this post of mine, the door's right there. The door's right there and you can go. I'd hate to be like that, but, you know, this is an object of love. This is an object of morality. And you know what? If you go against it, I don't see it as, oh, we have differences. I see it as you hating somebody. And I just don't stand for that.
Thank you, Kane. I like this one.
Don't you dare like this video. Did you just like it? You better not comment on it. You really don't listen for shit, huh? And did you just share it? Don't you dare like this video.
this like, I posted this 5 days ago. Yeah.
Did you know that the Roman Empire used to have a transgender empress? Elagabalus ruled the Roman Empire in the 3rd century. Yes, queen! She even sought out gender-affirming surgery in 218 CE. The empire may have collapsed, but her legacy? Iconic. Chevalier Dion was a French spy, soldier, and diplomat. She even got recognition from the French king. She fought wars in a wig and rewrote gender expectations in Versailles. Royal, radiant, and revolutionary. Wewa was a two-spirit leader in the Zuni nation. They blended masculine and feminine roles. They even met President Grover Cleveland as a cultural ambassador. Native, non-binary, and deeply respected. Lily Elf was one of the first known people to undergo gender-affirming surgery. She was a celebrated painter and fashion muse. She transitioned openly in the 1930s. The world wasn't ready, but she did it anyway. Egypt's female pharaoh, Hatshepsut, ruled Egypt for over 20 years. He wore a king's crown and a king's beard. What a boss. Whilst he was born female, he adopted only male titles. Some scholars believe that they may have identified outside of the gender binary. Millennia later, their gender is still being debated. Their power, though, undeniable. Trans and gender diverse people have always been here, ruling, resisting, and redefining what's possible. Bet you they didn't teach that one at school. Did you know?
So we're not the problem. We tend to fix things. And have done so throughout history. Here's a question for you. Do you know that the tuberculosis test and the treatment for it was by a trans man? Yeah. The doctor was transgender. And this happened during a time where women were not accepted into medical fields. And this woman transitioned from female to male, went through college, got his degree, and became a successful doctor and scientist. A lot of inventions came about because of transgender people. We have been leaders pharaohs. Trans women have been Vikings. Warriors. Not just in the Viking kingdoms, and there's more than one. And it's thought that Joan of Arc was a trans woman. Even the U.S. military, during the Revolutionary War and Civil War, there were trans people. But they don't want you to know that. They want to hide that, because it doesn't fit with their narrative. So if you've liked anything so far, please like, share, follow, and send gifts. You can request to come up on the panel. Okay. I don't have it open. I have it for request. I would like to have input from other trans people. I would like to have input from others from the LGBTQ plus community. I'll be sharing some more stuff, but I just wanted to get some stuff that kind of near and dear to me. Let's see, what's my volume? There we go.
said, I can't name, including probably like Al Qaeda and the Taliban, a group that is more violent per capita than the trans movement. On September 13th, 2025, Laura Loomer posted to her X account, "It's time to designate the trans movement as a terrorist movement. Trans people are a threat to society. We can't allow them to continue killing people. They need to be socially ostracized, and the president should make medical transitioning illegal." On September 14th, 2025, Elon Musk, who has 220 million followers on X, shared a post from Matt Walsh that reads, "Transgenderism is a death cult, the largest, most well-funded, and deranged death cult the country's ever seen."
News to
That
me.
same day, U.S. Representative Nancy Mace posted to her X account, "Transgenderism is terrorism." On September 15th, 2025, Alex Jones posted to his X account that the trans movement was responsible for Charlie Kirk's death. The Gun Violence Archive lists 5 mass shootings by trans or non-binary people since January 2013. 5. But every single time there's a shooting, the Republicans automatically go, "It was a trans person, it's trans people are the problem." They don't want us to exist in public life.
Exactly.
They want us eradicated from public life entirely. In 2023, 2 years ago, Michael Knowles, during a speech at CPAC, called for the eradication of transgenderism. Are we allowed to call them fascists now? I mean, when is it okay for us to call this fascism? When is this okay for us to call it what it is? I'm so sick and tired of the gaslighting. People being like, "Oh, you guys just call anything fascism. You call anyone transphobic. You call everybody bigoted." When will enough be enough? When will the gaslighting stop? We have been saying this over and over, that the Republicans' treatment of trans people and the constant scapegoating and blaming and dehumanization and demonization and so forth is fascist. We have been saying this, and it is. I don't know how many more quotes we need out there from Republican politicians and talking heads and podcasters, etc., to make it clear that they want us gone from public life completely, and that is fascism. They want to completely remove a social group, a vulnerable minority. And we constantly get told, "Oh, we're overreacting. Oh, they're not actually taking your rights away. What rights are you losing?" They literally don't want us to exist. I don't know how hard that is to get across to a lot of people out here. We need Protect the Dolls to be more than just a phrase you wear on a shirt. We need advocacy from our allies more than ever. We need you to stand up and use your platform and use your voices and stand up for trans people. On September
Our society is run by insane people for insane objectives. You know, and I think that's what I sussed when I was 16 and 12, way down the line. But I expressed it differently all through my life. It's the same thing I'm expressing all the time. But now I can put it into that sentence that I think we're being run by maniacs for maniacal ends. You know, if anybody can put on paper what our government and the American government, etc., and the Russian, China, what they are actually trying to do, you know, and what they think they're doing, I'd be very pleased to know what they think they're doing. I think they're all insane. You know, but I'm liable to be put away as insane for expressing that. You know, that's what's insane.
Hey, Slothy.
I mean, don't you agree? I think
alphabet community, I feel as though the trans sisters are the strongest out there in the community. If anybody else is walking in their truth, standing in who they are, 100% 10 toes down, and looking the fuck good, I may add, it's the trans community. You gotta give them their tens, you gotta give them their flowers. We live in a world where everyone is criticizing you on the way that you look, the way that you act, the way that you show up. And if your outer appearance is not matching your internal soul, and the world is telling you you should not look this way or act this way, and you do it despite that, you got to give them your flowers. I give you the strength. You're walking in it. And I'm talking about the male and female transgenders. Y'all are walking in it. Despite what the world has told you who you should be, you are going to show up, and you have been showing up exactly who you know you are. And I am so proud of you, and I want to give you all the love and the flowers that you deserve. I want to just speak to the heterosexual community for those who don't really understand. I'm part of the LGBT community, so I don't all the way fully understand the transgender experience, but I used to have a best friend that was a transgender woman, and I would ask her a lot of questions just out of curiosity, and I was really informed with new information, and it really enlightened me to their experience. And if you don't know any transgenders, I just encourage you just to get to know one and just speak to them, hear their experience, because then you'll have a little bit more compassion and empathy for their experience living in America with so much misogyny and male-dominated culture. It really affects us in a deleterious way. And I just want you all to imagine, if you are a man, imagine you wake up tomorrow with breasts, a cootie cat, long hair, and you know for a fact that you were born and you feel that you are a man. But now you have body parts, breasts and cootie cat and long hair, and the world is telling you you are a woman. You are a woman, Sarah. You're a woman, but deep down in your soul, you know that you really are a man. But you woke up tomorrow with breasts and a cootie cat. That's the transgender experience on a daily basis. It's the body dysmorphia. I couldn't even imagine, and I have so much compassion and love to my transgender brothers and sisters, and I just want to shout out y'all today and tomorrow and forever. Keep standing in your truth, keep your head high, keep looking the fuck good, because y'all, it's like y'all always do. Y'all representing, and I love y'all.
So I'm going to take a quick break. You will see me right there. It's been raining hard, pretty hard today. We had some flooding. A couple of roads were not passable, so they had to the highway department come in and have them to clear the roads with their tractors. And they use graders to clear the debris off the road so that the roads can drain off. So quite a few roads were flooded. Dollar General. I went out to Dollar General around 7:30, and their parking lot. Oh my goodness, half the parking lot is underwater. It's just you couldn't park in half the parking lot. It's just impossible. That's how much rain we had. I mean, we had so much rain it could not drain off fast enough. They do have drains to drain the water off, but it, by 7:30, which was about an hour after we had a really heavy downpour. Yeah, the parking lot is just completely flooded, and the drains to drain off the parking lot couldn't handle it. So, so from the time I was there to I guess around 9, when we had another heavy downpour, it could have drained off a little bit, but I don't think it was going to drain off that much. I think they need to rethink their drainage to where maybe they can on the other side of the parking lot is so that it will drain into like a retaining pond. But that's a lot of water. I mean, that was a lot of water. I know we had, a lot of rain. In fact, the backyard here, at the very back of the yard, it looked like a river going through the yard at one point. So anyway, I hope you're liking and sharing, and I haven't seen any shares. I hope you're at least liking this live. I'd like to see some shares going. I'd like to see some follows because I haven't seen that many follows. There's only been a handful of follows. I'd like to see some gifts coming. I mean, because I can't make any money if no money is coming in. You know, if you're not sending gifts, I'm not making any money. If you're not going to my link tree and donating that way, I'm not making any money. In fact, I'll give you my link tree again. Share a couple more videos.
On today's edition of Evil People You've Probably Never Heard of, meet Lisa Lippman, the researcher who made up a fake term to hurt trans kids. In 2018, she claimed to discover rapid onset gender dysphoria. That sounds official, right? Wrong. This discovery was created from surveys from parents on anti-trans forums. She never actually talked to a trans child or a clinician. She just made it all up. This discovery was biased, unscientific, and was debunked numerous times by actual psychologists, doctors, and scientists. But the damage stuck. Politicians and TERFs utilized rapid onset gender dysphoria as an excuse to ban gender-affirming care for trans youth. Lisa Lippman did not discover anything. She took her own biases and ideology to create a weapon to hurt trans people all around the world. So next time that you hear that being trans is contagious or is a fad, you can thank Lisa Lippman. On today's edition of Evil People You've Probably Never...
Alright, let's see.
There was a time in my life where I said you can have whatever surgery you want, but underneath it all, you're still biologically male or biologically female because you have an XX or an XY chromosome. That is when I had, limited understanding of biology, quite frankly. That is before I knew that there were XXYs, XYXs, and, I didn't know. And what I didn't know, I didn't know. But once I knew, I realized that it is not up for me to define what is a man or a woman for anyone else except myself. And that these people, trans people, have enough going against them. They don't need me over here saying, well, underneath it all, you're still... No, they're not. They're not. If they have transitioned, they have transitioned. They are now a full woman or a full man. And any other talk is nonsense and doesn't go along with the biology or the medicine. There was a time in my life where I said,
Now the fun, here's a Texas lawmaker.
We have heard from police chiefs from Dallas, San Antonio, and Houston, from law enforcement organizations across Texas who have all testified against the bathroom bill, telling us exactly this, that they had found no known crimes of bathroom assaults performed by men posing as transgender women. Zero. Zilch. Nothing. Nada. We have heard from police chiefs from Dallas.
was a good one.
Ron DeSantis wears heels. J.D. Vance wears eyeliner. Donald Trump wears makeup. And here I thought I was the drag queen.
Oh, yes. Costs $0 to cut toxic people out of your life.
Excuse me, can I get a refill, please?
Who've never actually been in one. Like, what do you think happens in there? You picturing wide open rooms full of people peeing into the wind? Stalls and urinals facing each other like it's a Wild West duel? Because let me paint the real picture for you. Gender neutral bathrooms are just stalls. Private, locking, cleanish. You walk in, you do your business. You wash your hands, hopefully. You leave. That's it. It's not Caligula's palace. It's not a rave. It's not an orgy. The most offensive thing that's ever happened in a gender-neutral bathroom was that one dude who destroyed it after eating a full Taco Bell box combo. And honestly, that wasn't a trans issue. That was a too much fire sauce issue. You say it's about safety, but trans people aren't the ones attacking folks in bathrooms. They're the ones being harassed in bathrooms. So what's the real fear here? That you might realize nothing changed? That your gender survives sharing space with someone different from you? If you've ever used a single stall bathroom at Starbucks, congrats. You've already been part of the radical gender agenda. Share this if you've survived one. And if
Hello, Belly.
Feminism was never meant to be exclusive, but some people twisted it into a weapon against trans women. They call themselves TERFs, trans exclusionary radical feminists. And here's the gag. The term radical here doesn't mean progressive. It means aggressively gatekeeping who gets to be a woman. TERF ideology says trans women aren't real women. They claim they're protecting women's rights while pushing laws and rhetoric that actually weaken them. This isn't new. In the late 1970s, TERFs fought to ban trans women from women's spaces, even from feminist conferences. They targeted women like Sandy Stone, a trans sound engineer, with smear campaigns so vicious she received death threats. Today, TERFs have rebranded. They use language like gender critical to sound reasonable. But behind that polite facade, they lobbied to restrict trans health care, ban trans women from sports, and erase trans identities from legal recognition. Here's the truth. Feminism without trans women isn't feminism. It's selective liberation. Real feminism fights the patriarchy, not other women. And history proves it. When movements fracture and exclude, they lose power. Solidarity is the only way forward. If your feminism isn't intersectional, it's it's just discrimination in disguise.
Absolutely. Hello, Adele. How about this one?
But I looked into a little bit further. The Gun Violence Archive looked at 5,729 mass shootings. Of the shooters in these over 5,000 mass shootings, 5 were trans. That is 0.09%. So I do believe there is a trans mental health crisis in this country. Trans people existing and trying to live their lives is driving people insane, and they are becoming dangerous and violent, and they're spreading harmful rhetoric that puts people's lives at risk. I cannot imagine how horrifying it must be to face the transphobia that is all over this country. And I don't scare very easily. I survived a mass shooting.
Yeah.
The transphobia it's incredible. And I really don't understand and transphobia is actually a bad word because phobia means fear. That's where we get fear, the word fear from, is phobia. But transphobia is not really based in fear. It's based upon hate. It's not fear of someone being different. It's hate of somebody being different. And it's where people just they hate that someone is different from them. Okay? They despise it. Okay? So that's why you get the homophobia, the transphobia, all the phobias that have to do with people is based upon hate. Hate of somebody being different than ourselves. this goes back, centuries. Because what it is it's wrapped around religion. Okay, bear with me. It's wrapped around religion, and especially the Christian religion. Okay, the way Christianity has gone throughout the world was, I believe, therefore you must believe. And that's dangerous. How dangerous? During the Crusades, it's estimated that the Crusaders unalived over 6 million people. And it's believed to be closer to 10 million during the Crusades alone. They were like, we believe this, so you must believe, and if you don't believe, we're going to kill you. We're going to unalive you. Not even the Islamic faith does that. Okay? There might be some radicals, but they don't do that. The Jewish faith doesn't do that. Only Christianity gets this absurdity within themselves that they're superior. Okay? And this came about somewhat because of the early Catholic within the first millennia, but it really took off in the second millennia, where you have to believe what we believe, and if you don't, we're going to unalive you. So it happened during the Crusades. The Salem witch trials, or the witch trials around Europe and stuff. That was based upon this heretical Christian theology that did not give authority to any female. It was to get rid of the female authority. They didn't want women to have a voice. And if women spoke out, they were unalived. They were called a witch. If they helped other people, they came out of their house and the midwives were unalived because they were considered witches. Thank you, Ken. So throughout history, okay, within the last, basically the last 1,500 years, Christianity has gotten this this teaching that came through the Catholic Church to suppress any belief system outside of what they were teaching. And it's still happening today. Okay? But they're doing it a different way. Now they're trying to influence laws to get us eradicated. To keep the transgender people, or even the LGBTQ as a whole, we don't want them in our spaces. So we're going to write these laws so that they can't come into our spaces. Okay? And they use this radical Christian ideology that is so false that, and is so far away from the teachings of Christ. In fact, Christ didn't even want a new religion. You know, he wanted people to find themselves. You know, but transgender is not the problem, and it's not your problem. And it will never be your problem. Just because you got into a fender bender, or you got that flat tire, or your engine blew, or you lost your job, it is not because of a transgender person. It's not because of an immigrant either. They still want to point fingers at the transgender community. Whenever there's another unaliving, the first thing they do is point it and say, oh, it's the transgender community. Really? Before you even investigate or had paid attention to whoever the investigators are, you're automatically pointing fingers at us. And then we have Orangina, Poopy Pants, wanting us to be listed as a terrorist organization. Really? I shared that video earlier. Since 2013, there has only been five people that were identified as transgender that unalived anybody. That's out of hundreds. Again, transgender is not the problem. unaliving, the mass unaliving, 99% has been cisgender, white, heterosexual, Christian, Trump supporting men. Since 2013, there has been over 5,000 unalivings since 2013. And those that have created were done by a transgender person is 5. 5 out of 5,000. Almost every day, there's at least one school shooting. At least one. We've had days where there was 2 and 3. We've had days where you've had like 2 school shootings and other mass unaliving events. Transgender is not the problem. I am doing fine. So, instead of this fear mongering, sorry, the fear mongering is coming from the pulpit and it's coming from the legislators to make people afraid of the transgender community. The transgender community in the United States takes up 1% at most. It's only 3 million people out of 300 million plus. So it's mind-boggling that the smallest community gets the most blame. You know? So we have to rethink everything. You know, as an LGBTQ plus community, it's past time to say enough is enough. Salathi. It's past time to say enough is enough. Stop blaming the transgender community for everything that goes wrong in your life. Because this girl is not going to stay silent. Okay? And if I am being quiet, that's when you need to worry. Because I'm cooking up some new scheme to give you a new talking point. And thinking up ways to challenge the establishment. When did I start all this? I started speaking out in 2014. 2014, I started speaking out. Not so much as a daily thing like I'm doing now, but in 2014, I went up against McDonald's and beat them. I made them change policy. Whether they want to admit to it or not, they changed policy. Sorry. And where did I do that? In my home state of Virginia. Yeah, Virginia. A southern state, even though some southern states don't consider Virginia as a southern state. But anyway, it's still a southern state. I'm going to share my link tree again. Now on my link tree, there's a couple places where you can support me. Right at the very top is a link to my Cash App. A little bit further down is my tip jar, and also my fundraiser that I have. Wow. So, please, 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 please take that down and help support. I've got links to stuff like Good Chop if you've never used Good some tonight. Ground bison, and I made I used that, and I mixed in ground turkey, and I made a Spanish dish. Oh, awesome. Oh, so awesome. Believe it or not, I am an excellent cook. And I'm creative. I come up with new things. It's like mixing the ground bison with the ground turkey. Okay. And then you had bell pepper in there. You had jalapeno, tomatoes, asparagus, and what else I got in there? Onions, and I slow cooked it so that it would all the flavors would integrate into each other. And then I put it on top of a tortilla. Oh my gosh. Alright, I gotta stop. I'm probably getting everybody hungry. But, see, that, coming from a trans woman, okay, how is that a problem? Okay? I just created something. And there was enough meat. Now, without any seasoning or any the Spanish seasoning, the two doggies here had some of the meat. Oh, did they love that? Oh my gosh, they tore that up. And then tomorrow I'll give them the rest of the meat, well, some more of the meat, and I'll mix in like brown rice, for them, and something else, so that, you know, they know that I love them. My baby Pearl is curled up, well, yeah, kind of semi-curled up on my bed, and is asleep. And I'm looking over here. Tiki Taki has been, it's gotten a lot of passers through. YouTube. I don't know if the person is still watching. All it says is I've had a view. There's no way of knowing if I have an active viewer. The way the way this thing is, it doesn't tell you everything. all the information that you need to have. Let's see. Nope. No way of knowing who is active. Now TikTok, I can pull up, and there's no viewers in the chat right now in the live. Will the YouTube tell me? Well, no, it said one person for, is that 10 minutes or 10 seconds? I don't know. According to that, there's a lot more than 10 minutes. I'm guessing. So I'm trying to find out who's paying attention to me. And if you were over on YouTube or in the TikTok, you would actually have a different view of my stream. Because on my tablet, you don't see the stream like I put out. Let's see if I can put it up here. Let's see. Nope. Nope. It's grabbing stuff where it shouldn't grab. Alright. I can't get it to get the camera to focus on the screen. But yeah, it's a completely different view. So Wesley, are you still in the room? No. Okay. So anyway, you know, the last person that came into my room, large, somebody who has that as a screen name is a pervert. I'm sorry, straight up. That indicates somebody who's perverted. Hi, Jupiter. topic tonight was transgender is not the problem. And now we're sharing a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know if it really mattered. Put my link tree in again. So if there's any real people in here besides Jupiter, well, Jupiter just left. If there's any real people in here, that's my link tree. At the very top of my link tree, there's a little, looks like a $sign. You can click that and you can send money through Cash App. There's other platforms that you can donate to my podcast or live stream. So I've got gotta figure out a way for me to talk on have some chat, but that's okay. Doesn't matter to me. People can chat and I can talk. Anyway, this camera makes me look, my face look fat. That camera makes my face look skinny. Oh my gosh. I don't know which one is. I don't know. I'm doing pretty good though. pass through. So please like, share, follow, send gifts. Feed my dino. I have, let's see, my stylus. Right there, it says wish gift, and that'll help support my live. Every little bit helps, because right now I'm only making pennies, and that doesn't pay bills. My main job is I'm a caregiver. And right now I'm arguing about my contract. Mexicano. And yes, I said it properly. If you don't know how to speak Spanish, and I can barely speak it, you basically sound that out as H. So it's Mexicano. The F becomes an H. Or a silent letter. It's basically like a silent letter. What am I putting on my crackers? French onion dip. I don't have that much cottage cheese, and I don't have that much cream cheese. Spider Joker. People just passing through. Share this.
They saw earrings. They saw a little lipstick. They saw my kid. And what they chose to see was someone to hate. But let me be clear. My child is not a canvas for your cruelty. They are not a mirror to reflect your fear. They are a flame, burning, alive, and unashamed. And me? Shit. I'm tired. Tired of the comment section that drip with venom like leaky faucets. Tired of warriors who only fight behind keyboards. Tired of people who think judgment is their birthright, but compassion is too expensive to give. Let me offer you a trade. Put down your stones. Put down your slurs. Put down your tired old sermons. Grind up your fear. Roll it up and twist it tight. Now light it. Inhale. Exhale. You feel how small you really are in this big, strange, beautiful universe? It's time we pass a joint instead of judgment. Fill your lungs, but not with hate, but with breath. The same breath we all share. The same breath my child takes when they laugh, when they dream, and when they dare to exist exactly as they are. And if you can't see the beauty in that, then maybe the smoke hasn't hit you yet. If you have room in your chest and your head to grow, to love, I encourage you stick around. We have a great time here. And we love people who love people. It's that simple. But if these words only filled you with more just please do not feel like you've got to announce it. This isn't an airport. And honestly, it's kind of nice when the trash takes itself out.
Exactly. It's very nice when the trash takes itself out. And he did that video in response to his child, who is gender diverse. You know. And I follow him. I started following him online. Mainly because his nephew has I'm trying to think of the name right now. Down syndrome. The person I care for used to have a son with Down syndrome. He passed away. But a lot of people with Down syndrome don't live long into their 20s. And he passed away in his sleep. I was the one who found him. So any other creator that has someone who is Down syndrome or has a Down syndrome child, I'll follow them. I can't support them right now because I'm not making any money right now. Like I said earlier, I'm only making pennies on these platforms. Pennies. I don't have the big following that I need to make hundreds or thousands of dollars a month. You know, I'm lucky if I make $1 in a month. And that's from all my platforms that I'm on. That's why I share my LinkedIn, you know, which has at the very top is my Cash App. I have other fundraising stuff on my link tree. But do you know how much it has generated? 0. A big fat 0. I mean, I got over 1,000 followers on the TikTok. I got over 1,000 followers over here. I don't know how many over on YouTube. still under 100. But I don't have tens of thousands of followers. Why? Because I don't have people sharing my lives. I don't have people liking my lives. Why am I not making any money? Because no one is gifting. No one is sending help, financial help. Even if it was $1, that's $1 more than I have now. You know, and I get told, well, just wait it out, wait it out, wait it out. I've been waiting. I don't see the results that I need. I don't see people sharing my life. I don't see people liking my life. I don't see people sending gifts in a large scale. One or two of you. And I can pull up this box right here. If it'll let me pull it up. It's being a pain in the butt tonight. Okay, real-time data. And this is looking at my live currently. Okay, even though it's showing so many people in the live, it's a false number. There's only 3 of you that are valid viewers. Three. How am I supposed to make any money off of 3 people? How many beans have I gotten? 0. How many gifts have I received? 0. How many of you have gifted at all? 0. But I can see when people are gifting to other people because it rolls across my screen. Especially with somebody I'm following. It rolls across my screen if they get something. I see it in the chat if somebody shares. I see it in the chat if somebody sends a gift. Not everybody sees it, I do. it's disappointing. You know, you get these people say, oh, you know, support the dolls. Okay. I'm not seeing the support on any of my platforms. I'm not seeing the support. And I don't know how to change it. I don't know how to increase the viewers. I don't know how to get people to share. I don't know how to get people to like. Because in my opinion is I can lead you to water, and that's come into my life. I can lead you here, but I can't make you drink. I can't make you interact. If in my opinion, and this is, I've gone into other people's lives, I interact, I send gifts, and I even share. So I like, I share, I send gifts, I even talk, I interact. I'm a human being, so I like to talk, you know. And if you're not interacting, then maybe there's something wrong with you. And don't say, well, times are tough, because I see creators that are making on this platform making about 10 grand a month. Yeah. So don't tell me times are tough when they're making $10,000 a month. They're making $20,000 a month. And I'm making, let's see, since I went to every day, $4 on this platform. That doesn't pay any bills. I decided to go live every day on the various platforms to increase my exposure. By increasing my exposure, I should be able to increase, you know, if I could go from a penny a day to $1 a day, I would be ecstatic. But right now, I'm actually lucky if I make a penny a day. seen other creators, and they're getting big money for doing the exact same thing I'm doing. But I'm getting, oh, times are tough. But they're making big money. I can't even get a single bean during one of my streams. On Tiki Taki, or even here, a diamond. Can't even make it. Come on now. Minimum amount. And I can't even get that. So I'm rethinking I've been rethinking this recently as far as going live. And thinking that I may stop doing a daily live. I may stop doing a daily live because one, it wears me down. Okay. And two, I just don't see the results. You know, I don't see the viewers. And it tells, I mean, I can just click one thing and it tells me how many views. It says 68 people in my live right now. 68. Or 67. Right? Valid viewers, still at 3. Golden beans, 0. No review gifting, 0. No you have followed me today, 1. So I get all the information. Okay. I can see when people share. I can see when somebody sends a gift. I can see when people are tapping on the screen and liking my content. So I'm rethinking my schedule. I'm also rethinking I'm not going to do a 4-hour stream anymore. 3, maybe, maybe only 2. I'm going to cut back on when I'm online. I'm cutting back for how long I'm online, and I'm cutting back. I'll be changing the hours that I'm online. Because it's just not working right now. And it's 12:37 a.m. right now. At 1 a.m. my time, I will shut down the stream. So that's what, 23 minutes from now. 22. I'm not gonna. I'm not doing a 4-hour, and not seeing the results on a 4-hour stream. And every big creator that I've seen, that I've talked to, they said do a 4-hour stream. That's why I went to a 4-hour stream, because they said it was good to do a 4-hour stream because you make more money. Really? Really? I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it at all. Over here, I'm making about a penny a day. Over on the Tiki Taki, about a half cent per day. On YouTube, it's completely zero. So I don't know how to increase anything, because it's everything that I've done according to how I have been taught to do it, and no results. professional streamers. What it is, and what I figured out, is if the ones that are making money aren't sharing the live or liking the live or following you, you make nothing. It's basically you're shut off. Period. You're shut off. They will. You're blacklisted basically if they're not helping you out. If the bigger creators are not helping the smaller creators, the smaller creator cannot get to the, they can't move up the list. Okay. And I'm not really considered a small creator. I'm considered a micro creator. A micro creator is somebody who's less than 10,000 viewers. Okay. Less than 10,000 viewers is a micro creator. Is a micro creator. If you have less than 200 people in a live at any time, you're a micro creator. Micro creators make nothing. Pennies. Small creators, which is 10,000 followers or more, 10,000 to 100,000, those are considered small creators. Okay. Small. Large creators are 100,000 followers or more. But you don't get there. You don't level up unless you have people that are one tier or two tiers up higher than you helping out. Now, let's see. I have about 15 minutes left. Let's see if Family PK will help out. No. I doubt it. And it's searching and searching and searching. Match failed. Try again. Yeah. Well, like I said, there's a hierarchy. Okay. And I'm way the next tier up should be helping as well. The ones that are way up here, okay, if they're not coming to your live and liking or sharing or following, you're basically blacklisted on any platform there is. If the large creators are not helping in any way, shape, or form, you are blacklisted. And that's something that all of these platforms will not tell you. That's something I figured out on my own. Okay. And I see people that's coming in here. I see the ones that are higher up than me. I see them come in. I truly do. I see them come in. Then they leave. And there's no like. There's no share. There's no follow. There's no gifts. Yeah. They don't. Even if you don't like me as a person, and I really don't care if you like me as a person, throw a like toward my stream, and that goes a long ways. A share to somebody who, let's say you're not part of the LGBTQ plus community, but you know people that are, and you're connected to them, and you're not sharing my live to those people, that just says that I'm blacklisting this person. I'm not going to help them out. I'm not getting the, I get my admins say, well, you got to open up the chat. Okay. However, if I open up the chat, okay, and I don't have my admins in the room at the time, then I'm overrun with the perverts. I need to have my admins in the room when I go open up the chat. And so, whether it's over here on Bigo, or whether it's on TikTok, or whether it's whatever the platform that I'm on, if I open up my chat, okay, to people, then, and I don't have my moderator in to help me out, I get overrun by the perverts. The perverts and the haters. That's why I keep my chats to invitation only until I have my admins in the room with me. And I have 3 admins, and I only get one on a regular basis. She was in here earlier. Asking the Divine. Hey, how you doing? An odd audio artifact. I don't know what that means. I really don't. A pretty substantial repeating tick and static and whine. Alright, hold on a second. Okay. Did that fix the problem? It briefly got worse? Wow. Let me try lowering my... Because I'm working with OBS, so it's like... getting this thing... Alright. I just turned off the desktop audio. Do you know how many times I've done that? The lowering your volume only makes the ploink sound louder. Ooh. I could turn the ploink off. Do. Okay. That should turn that off. Okay, hold on. Mic audio up. Hey, Rebel. What's going on? Thank you, Ken, for helping on the hearts. You want me to go even higher? Okay. go any higher. I'm at, it says 0 decibels. Alright, you said the noise is not so bad. Okay. I have 2 mic settings, so so I don't know if it's the microphone here that's the problem, or the it shouldn't be the microphone up there because that's supposed to be off. Okay. Rebel, you still in the room? Yes, you are. Okay, Rebel, I'm going to try something. I'm going to give you a link. And I want to try something out. Excuse me. Now that link is a workaround because with OBS you can't it's really strange how and these other live streamers, the big time live streamers where they have the box in there. Thank you so much, Divine. I hope so too. Yeah, Rebel, the link that I put up there is a OBS, it's a workaround for OBS to have you up in the Okay.
Okay.
Now, when you talk, it should.
Oh.
Okay.
He has a wicked echo.
All right.
He has a wicked echo.
Hopefully, I fixed that. I could see you on my screen. Are you getting
Okay.
Are you getting the echo now?
Okay.
I'm still getting the echo. Wow.
Well, it's repeating what I'm saying. Well, it's repeating what I'm saying. It's delayed. And it's delayed.
Okay. Let me see. Audio settings. Auto gain control on. Echo cancellation is on. Latency is at 0.01. Huh. Okay, video settings. Okay. Scene options.
So is there something happening with TikTok?
When I do the OBS, okay, and it's a real pain in the butt, but I have to refresh the live stream page like 3 times, and then and every time I go live now, I have to copy the stream URL and the stream key because there's no from what I see, there's no change, but it seems to be a change every time you refresh the page.
Okay.
I'm only seeing the top of your head.
I don't know why.
That's weird. Now, are you looking at it from TikTok?
No, I have to look at it from a browser.
Okay. Boy, there's an echo.
I have TikTok minimized.
Okay. Because I was going to say, to look at it, you should be able to see your head in the stream. disappeared. But that was a good first test. That was a good first test. So, I'm happy with that. Yeah, I'm very happy with that test. I gotta make sure that it, I have to just play with the settings, I guess. And there's a lot of settings. But it works. And I really appreciate your help with that, Rebel. I really do. But anyway, I'm getting ready to get off of here. I'm going to be cutting my streams short now because I'm not going to do a full 4 hours anymore. And I'm probably going to rearrange my schedule some. I don't know how long I'll be able to stream over here on TikTok. Especially since I told them that I won't censor myself. So they could get rid of me if they want. And it seems like the creators that are telling TikTok that are keeping their accounts. We're basically telling TikTok to F off and yeah. So far, so good. Anyway, I'm trying to get my following going over on YouTube. So, because let's see, that way on the screen, you'll see a thing. Should be able to see a thing that says "Step into my future."